Hi, I'm Shane with etrailer.com. Today I'm going to walk through how to install the detail K2 Avalanche Snow Plow on your 2018 Jeep JL Wrangler. Adding a snow plow like this is going to give you plenty of ability to plow smaller places. Maybe you own a construction or a landscaping business and you want to plow the driveways of some of your customers, or maybe you want to plow maybe a smaller parking lot. This plow right here is going to be able to handle those types of situations. It's going to be a steel construction. It can pivot in 3 different directions. You got left pivot, straight, and right. You'll have a manual lever here that allows you to pivot. Plow itself is going to be 82 inches wide, 19 inches tall. It's going to have a very thick steel blade to give you plenty of traction when you're trying to break up some of those icy parking lots. If we come up here to the top, you'll notice the curve in it. This is going to allow snow to be pushed back down to the road. You'll notice a guard here, very thick rubber guard. This is going to keep any of that snow that you're plowing from coming up over the top and onto your windshield. We come over here to this side, we have side markers. We're going to have one on each corner. This is to tell you where the side of your plow is. Each side we're going to have a caster wheel. It's going to have a pin and clip. So when in the stored position, you simply rotate your wheel down. When you set your blade down on the ground, it makes it a lot easier to move it around, to attach it and detach it from the vehicle. If we come in here to the center, we're going to have this shoe. It's going to be on each side, and what this does is allows you to guide over unlevel ground or maybe gravel surfaces. This can be adjusted up or down depending on how high or low you want your blade to be to the ground. If we come to the center here, our plow is going to have very durable, thick springs, and what these do is, say you're going across a parking lot, maybe you hit something, hit a curb or something like that, it's going to allow the blade to flex, and the spring's going to spring out or allow the blade to flex so you don't damage something. Our winch is going to be a Warrior winch. It's going to be more than durable enough, more than strong enough to lift our plow up in the air and to lower it. This is going to be our travel chain. You can see it attached right here to the bracket on the frame itself. This is for while you're traveling. It's going to support the support your plow. Again, you have your handle here that allows you to adjust the angle of your plow. Come right here to the back. We're going to have another adjustable shoe. So maybe when you take it off, you can lower this down. It keeps everything up off the ground, makes it a little bit easier to get it attached to your hitch itself. You're going to have a locking device here. It's the pin that runs through the frame. So when you're when you're traveling with it, you have it up in the air, you lock that pin in, and it keeps it from accidentally coming loose and dropping down on the ground. We're going to have frame stiffeners, which you can see they're going to run directly back to the hitch that's mounted on the vehicle. This plow is designed to be used with 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube openings, unlike some of the other ones out there that have to be, you have to actually mount brackets to the vehicle itself. Keep in mind that the plow is not going to come with the hitch because it's going to work with many different types of vehicles with 2-inch hitches. Another thing that I really like about this is going to come with 2 different ways to control it. You're going to have a wireless controller, which allows you to use it inside the vehicle and not have to run any wires through the firewall or anything like that. If this happens to, maybe the batteries go dead in it, it's going to give you an option for another controller. You can actually plug this into the box, route it in through your door, and still allow you to control it from the inside of the vehicle. With the wireless controller, there is going to be a control box. You can see I zip tied it right here to the factory wiring. That way my plug's always out here. And again, if for some reason your wireless controller stops working, you always have your manual one and a plug directly into the control box underneath the hood. In my opinion, I like the wireless controller myself. I would probably get some new batteries for the first snow of the year and replace the batteries so that you know that this isn't going to go out while you're using it. This is going to be our manual control. We're going to have about a 10-foot cord, so we're going to have plenty of length that when we connect it to our control unit, we can route it inside if we need to. This is going to be our wireless controller. This is going to be water resistant. It's going to have a nice durable, I'm going to say it's like a rubber cover on it. You can see it's very large in size. It's going to make it very easy to use if you have gloves on. It's going to have a nice chain on it. Maybe you want to hang it around your neck, and so you always have it with you. One thing that is not included with the plow that I would highly recommend, and that's the optional light kit. We're going to have brackets here on the sides that the light kit is going to mount to bring your lights up high enough to focus on the road in front of you that you're trying to plow. They're going to tie directly into your factory wiring on your vehicle so that they match everything that you're doing. Another reason that I really suggest the light kit is when you have a plow in front of the vehicle, what it does is it casts a shadow out in front of you. It may not allow your headlights on the vehicle to see directly on the ground in front of you where you need to. So adding those lights, I think, is a must. It's going to give you your both turn signals, it's going to give you your running lights, and it's going to give you the headlights. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let's walk you through how to get it installed. To start our installation, we're going to put the two halves of our blade together. Make sure that they're facing the same direction. Make sure that the lips are the same here on both sides. We're going to have a small hex bolt, a flat washer, feed it through the holes. And we're going to put on another flat washer and then the nylon lock nut. We'll use a 17mm socket and wrench to tighten those in place once we get them installed. We're going to have three of them, one here, here, and here. And we're going to bolt the scrapers to the bottom edge of our blade. We're going to have a longer one and two shorter ones. The two shorter ones go on the ends. You're going to have hardware that's going to look like this. It's going to come in from the front side. That. And we'll put on a flat washer and a nylon lock nut. We're going to have this hardware for each one of the holes. Once you have all these tightened for your scraper, you're going to have two brackets that look like this, two holes in the bottom plate or the bottom bracket on the plow itself. We're going to use hex bolt, flat washer. We're going to go down through like that, and then we're going to put a flat washer on each, and then a nylon lock nut. You want to make sure that the angle is facing up. We're going to take our D-frame bracket, add it onto our A-frame bracket. We're going to take this rounded edge. You're going to have a plate with a pin. It's going to go inside of this hole. We're going to line up this hole here. We're going to have a bolt. It has a flat washer and a sleeve on it. Like this. Put on a flat washer, nylon lock nut. We'll take a 24mm socket and wrench and tighten it into place. You want to make sure that we're able to move that. You want to make sure that these brackets are facing up. We're going to take our A-frame at the end. We're going to take this bracket here. We're going to have a large pin, looks like this. It's going to go through this hole into the outside edge of the A-frame. We're going to have a long hex bolt, flat washer, or two flat washers and a lock nut. You're going to go down through the hole, through the pin to hold it in place. we'll take a 13mm socket and wrench and tighten it into place. Next, we're going to attach our caster wheels to our blade, hex bolt the flat washer, going in the center hole. We'll put on a flat washer, nylon lock nut. You're going to have a pin like this. Take an 18mm socket, or I'm sorry, 18mm wrench and 19mm socket, and tighten it into place. You want to make sure that we don't tighten it too much because we want to be able to rotate the wheel. We're going to repeat that on the other side. Now with an extra set of hands, have somebody hold the blade up. We're going to take the edge of our D-ring, or D frame. We're going to have pins that look like this. We're going to line it up and insert these into the 3 holes. Once you get those installed, you're going to have a cotter pin that goes in each one. We'll insert it and then bend one side of the cotter pin down. Next, we're going to take our swivel caster. We're going to slide it right up through this bracket in our A-frame. What we want is we want our frame to be horizontal with the floor. It gives us height adjustments in the leg. We're going to take our spring, our eye bolt, we're going to slide our eye bolt like this, flat washer on both sides, a nylon lock nut. Take our spring, we're going to hook it onto this hole right here in the plow. What we want to do, we want to tighten the plow down, or tighten this down where our plow is sitting vertical. Once we get it to where our plow is sitting vertical, or our blade, we'll take an 18mm socket to this top nut, and we're going to snug it into place. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. Now we're going to install our skid shoes into our brackets. Take this nut, if it's not all the way down, push it all the way down. You're going to leave one washer on. Slide it up and like that. Put on a washer, a nylon lock nut. Find. Directions are going to tell you to keep your blade a 1/2 inch, or to set these so that your blade's a 1/2 inch off the ground. These are adjustable. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set it for a 1/4 inch. So I have a 1/4 inch piece of plywood right under the center. I'm going to flip up my caster wheels so that it sits down on that plywood, and I'm going to tighten these so that these are sitting on the ground. I'm going to make sure your skid shoe is sitting down on the ground. We're going to take this lower nut, we're going to tighten it up to that plate. We'll take an 1 1/16 socket, we'll tighten the top nut down. I'm going to repeat that same thing on the other side. We need to insert or install our slide handle. You're going to have 2 bolts you're going to be using. One shorter one and one longer one. You're going to put a flat washer on. The longer one's going to go through this rod. And then you're going to put on a flat washer and nylon lock nut. Now we're going to attach our snow deflector to the top of our blade. To help us hold it in place, we went ahead and attached the center one. The difference between the center and the outside ones is the outside ones are only going to have 3 holes. The center one is actually going to have 2 close ones in the center and then 2 outside ones. We're going to line it up with our holes. You want to make sure the rubber is in between this bracket and the blade. Go down through the hole with our bolt, put on a flat washer, and then a nylon lock nut. For our two outside ones, we're going to be using the center hole and this inside hole. For the outside hole, we're going to put our guides on. And make sure that the flat washer goes on the bottom, followed by the lock nut. And we'll repeat that on the other side. I'll use a 17mm wrench to tighten all of our hardware up. Now we'll go ahead and show you how we got our plow hooked up to our vehicle and added our winch. Your kit's going to come with frame stiffeners. They really don't give you a whole lot of direction on installing them. It's really not hard. This brace here that slides into your receiver tube on your hitch on your vehicle, you're going to have one side that has two holes in it. You're going to run the bolt, flat washer on top, flat washer on bottom with a nut. You're going to take the other side, you're going to fit it around the hitch. You want to make sure whatever hitch you're using, that it's in a direct line with your receiver tube, or else this will not work. You're going to add that, or put that around your hitch cross tube, and you're going to spin this until it's tight. That's going to stiffen the whole front of this. You'll have one for each side. Once you do that, you're going to take your plow, the A-frame, you're going to lift it up and you're going to slide it over this bracket. This bracket here is going to slide on the top and it's going to lock down into place just like that. Then we mounted our winch. It's going to come with 4 long bolts, flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. You're going to have negative and positive wires for your wiring. Run them through this hole on your winch frame to help keep these kind of secured. It's going to have a plug on the other end. You're going to have another side. It's going to run like this up to the control unit and connect to the positive side of the battery. You want to make sure when you do this that you're able to get these together. Make sure you leave a little bit of slack. What I did is I actually ran it from here down, right behind my headlight, and it comes out right here. 10mm socket, I took that out, just tucked my wires down in there and put it back in. Ran it right up, and I actually mounted my control unit right on top of my fuse panel lid, my ground, right over to the negative side of the battery. Positive wire goes through the circuit breaker to the positive side of the battery. I took the circuit breaker and just zip tied it to the factory wiring there. Once you got your winch hooked up, you want to make sure your strap's running underneath of this bar, down to the U-bolt that's on your A-frame. You're going to have a couple of nuts and flat washers on the bottom side. Make sure there's a little bit of play in it. You don't want to tighten it down all the way. Then what you want to do is the chain, you're going to have a bolt in this bracket. You're going to take this ring and you're going to attach it to the bracket. And what this is for is when you're traveling, as you raise it up, it's going to hook. Your chain's going to attach right here, and it's going to support the weight of the plow while you're driving. Now that we've got everything hooked up, we'll test out our winch and make sure everything's working correctly. Last safety device before you head down the road is you're going to have a pin here. You're going to slide it through the bracket and lock it into place. Just like that, you'll be ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at and installation on the detail K2 Avalanche Snowplow on our 2018 Jeep JL Wrangler.